This is VOCM Open Line. Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now. Here's VOCM Open Line host Paddy Daly.
Well, good morning and welcome to Open Line. Brian Callahan in for Paddy today as we head into the home stretch for the big day on Thursday. And now I'm just going to cut right to the chase here. Thursday, if you've been listening to the news this morning, it looks like we may be in for a bit of a white one or a wet one. From what I understand from meteorologists, they can't quite decide on the models yet, but there looks like there's something. There's a storm brewing. There's something coming on Thursday. We don't quite know. Keep an eye on your weather, especially keep it here on VOCM, and we will keep you up to date. This is the fly by the seat of the pants edition. I don't know how much time you had over the weekend to think, but not a lot. A lot of mayhem in the parking lot, shall we say? Listen to to Russell and Jerry Lynn this morning. I don't know if it's just me, but the patience seems to be lacking considerably, if you ask me, if you're just trying to get around. I don't mind shopping. I love shopping. It's just getting there and getting back and getting into a parking lot and backing in. Backing in is good. And we can talk all about that. It just seems, of course, and I don't get to listen too much to the show here. I'm usually out and about doing something when the show is on, but I do know that the driving habits of some people have certainly been top of mind for a lot of people here. So we can always chat about that. It's important stuff. I don't want to talk about the outer ring and passing lanes, just FYI. I think we've beaten that horse, but that's all I'll say about that. Let me just move into the passion that if I didn't have, I'd probably lose my mind. But if you don't watch sports, and I've said this 100 times, maybe more, and maybe too many times that I can count, but it really is, for me, it is the ultimate reality TV. It's not scripted. It's no makeup, no edits. There's replays, but I wish they would be in fast motion instead of slow motion. But let's see what on the weekend. First of all, good morning to Brad Gujju and his final Grand Slam on the weekend. Caught a couple. I just tuned into the Grand Slam in Saskatoon, what turns out to be his last Grand Slam of his career, as he preps for the Brier next year. That's going to be something. But here in St. John's. But I turned on the first end, and they were up against the U.S. Schuster, and he could have ended it there. The first end could have been a wash, but somehow jigs and the reels. He ends up. They actually conceded one. They were in that bad of a shape, the U.S. was. And I turned back a couple hours later after running out and doing a few things. And lo and behold, Brad was given an interview about his last Grand Slam. So he was out in the quarterfinals, but once again, just 25 years of Grand Slams. I mean, think about it. It's a quarter of a century. Played in the first one actually here in January of 2002. That was a Masters tournament. Had a little bit of going, but finally broke through, I think, 2005, and then, of course, the following year off to Italy, and he wins a gold medal. So it's been onward and upward from there. And, to have a young man from this province to be the name of curling around the world, there's no question about it. And for anyone who thinks that he's kind of slowing down a bit, they're into the tailspin. Not at all. I mean, they were one rock away from quite likely going back to Italy and the Olympics next year. Just a really unfortunate shot there against Brad Jacobs a few weeks ago. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. Shout out to my friend Terry Ryan, to our friend Terry Ryan. Yes, his face is all over TV with the Shoresy shows, but now he's got a great commercial going, getting lots of play with Connor McDavid on sports gambling and, being careful with sports gambling and that sort of thing to him, doing his TV commercial debut, looking pretty good. Onward and upward for Terry. Next thing, Academy Awards, all about. If you're listening, give us a shout. Tell us what that was like. Let's see. And Riley Mercer, Bay Roberts' own Riley Mercer, gets a shutout in his first AHL game on the weekend, 1-0. Go into all the detail on that. And if you're not an NFL fan, you should be. Even if you don't know the sport that much, just watching those games on Saturday and Sunday night, the back and forth. One thing I will say, if you're an NFL fan, what is the definition of pass interference? I'm done. I don't get it anymore. If you're grabbing an arm, isn't like it needs two arms. Some NFL players are incredible, one-handed catches all the time, but I think you need two arms. Two hands would be good. Certainly more secure catch if you're going to make it. But when you got a guy grabbing an arm behind your back and it's still not called, I don't know anymore. Let's see. And the other thing, as I mentioned, you see some of these hits in the NFL right now, helmet to helmet, and even not the helmet to helmet ones, the helmet on ground ones. And I don't think they're catching everything. They have the little tent there, that you have to go in for an assessment if you're deemed to have been, the concussion protocol, as they call it. But it's almost every play now, and you see guys having trouble getting up. I mean, I know we're a long way into this. There are many advocates. There's a lot of research going on into brain injury with professional sports, particularly in the NFL. And yet, there's not a play goes by that I don't wonder, why is he not getting checked? But that's just me. Let me see. Where else are we going, Dave? Let me know if we get any calls this couple of days before Christmas. We'll try to keep it a little lighter. But, of course, politics never far from, the mind, of course, and there's all kinds of things going on. Going to try to make a call out to Philip Earle up Labrador, MP, regarding the Wildbush Runway update. I know there were more issues with the Wildbush Runway over the weekend. It seems to be a staffing snow clearing issue just from my initial read of it, but we know there were problems there with firefighting issues and the safety concerns that had to shut down the runway a while back. So that's, this time of year. And, safety overall. People say, concerned about flights delayed. I'm sorry, but, depending, I don't want to be on the tarmac for 5 hours, but if they have to take a little extra precaution to get her up and get her down back on safely, I'm all over that. Especially when you see some of the, I don't know, whenever I see issues with air traffic controllers and staffing issues and the stress they're already under, and then you look at layoffs and staffing and airports shutting down and slowing arrivals and departures because of staffing, you can only imagine the back room jostling that's going on to try to make sure everything is still running smoothly. And let's see. So we can talk all about that. A lot of travel going on this time of year, of course. I did want to talk a little bit about, heard last week, there's a lot of talk now about the Child Advocate and the reports. Of course, we're all working hard toward a Child Advocate, but, the Premier is on the record, the current Premier is on the record with, asking for immediately to be done under Liberals, and now there seems to be, I'll call it wishy-washy at best over some of the things that have been promised by the Wakeham government. You can't get a lot of really straight, clear answers, and I get it, it's early in the mandate, but there's only so long that can go on. I mean, we'd like a little bit of specificity, if possible, about what the plans are for various things, let alone an MOU, but we can talk about that if you want to. It's the old, if you're going to walk the walk or talk the talk in opposition, then let's hope you're going to walk the walk in government. And, it wasn't so long ago that opposition was pretty loud about all of these issues. So, now the ball is in their court, and let's see what can happen. And we can talk about the Epstein files if you like. What a mess that is. If they weren't going to release it all, they should have released nothing, because the context is it's just not there. So I'm just banging off a few here if you'd like to get into people. Let's see. And the Salvation Army, we used to call it the Sally Ann here. No, it was never it was just an old moniker that we used for the Salvation Army over the years. I don't think anyone ever took offense to it. I hope not. But, their need is always greater than ever. We all know that. But their numbers apparently are down a bit, and that's despite the tap option you have now. You don't have to worry about fishing into your pockets for a bit of change or a few bucks as you walk by and looking like, oh, darn, I forgot it. The tap is right there. So it's kind of surprised the numbers are down with the advent of that, but no pun intended. And I noticed last week, too, as well, a lot of power outages around. And, you might be cozy and comfy here in the city in St. John's, but when you see different places around the island that are out without for 2, 3, 4 days, and, you got a deep freeze with food, and you got people that are cold in the house, and that blast of Arctic air we had last week, certainly not for the faint of heart. And it's one thing for a few hours, and you're just hoping for the lights to flick back on, and they may tease you, and then they may finally come on. I mean, we lost ours for an hour last week, I think around 12:30 in the morning, and that was doable. But I woke up and heard that there are others still 15, 16 hours or a day without. So if you were one of those and you're a little disconcerted and not happy, and even if you are happy, this isn't all about bricks. You can throw a bouquet as well. I'm not sure if anyone has seen this, but have you seen the, Dave, I don't know if you've seen this, relay golf? This was hilarious. I mean, there's some indoor golf going on now, you know, those competitions, they call it reality TV golf. That's indoor. I can't watch golf indoor. Indoor, mini golf, don't matter. But the outdoor, the relay golf, where you have the best in the world, and once the ball stops, you hit it. So you got a guy waiting on the fairway, the ball is hit off the tee, and you got to run out and hit it, and it's all timed. And the amount of time it takes to get through a golf tournament these days, and the lackadaisical nature of it, this was brilliant, and at night to boot. So the balls are lit up, and it's just a spectacle. The course is all lit up with lights and TV, lights, camera, action, and the best in the world literally running to the ball to hit it as fast as they can. And I mean, if you look at all the set and preparation that some golfers take, this is not that. This is crazy, but fun to watch. I will say that. It's. I'm not sure I'm going to take any skill away from it because it's also haphazard. But relay golf, who knew? And I just watched it the other day. I thought this could be a bit of fun, especially at night. And there was a caller last week I heard. Just happened to catch a woman. It caught my attention because it's an intersection that I go through quite a bit. She mentioned Dunn's Road intersection at Tops Road. Of course, that's there by the former Dodge City. Steele, I think, is the dealer there now. On the corner of just before you go down into Park, where the Chateau Park Hotel used to be, and you go down Park towards Park Avenue on Mount Pearl. That intersection, big one, where the Gouju off ramp is now, before it extends, not quite finished yet, to Brookfield Road, but where you have to off ramp and come down to Tops Road. Anyway, I think you know the message. And she was talking about the short length, I should say, of the walk signal, and just no time. You know, you haven't. I didn't catch her age, but she certainly seemed to suggest that, you know, maybe up in years a little bit, and didn't necessarily relish the fact of having to speed up or even jog or half run to get across before people were impatiently waiting for her. And you know, it is a law under the Traffic Act that you're actually supposed to wait for the person to finish walking across the crosswalk before you actually drive on. So if they're still a couple of feet away from the curb and you pull through and there's a blue and white behind you, we used to say blue and white. Yeah, they are blue and white now, aren't they? You can expect maybe a little pullover there. Let's see, where else are we going? So any politics, any of that you'd like to talk about, I'm all over it. And, you know, it is a tough time of year for a lot of people, even tougher when you lose someone. We're going through a lot of that here in the office. I know others in their office places too, you know, and our parents get up in age and that bit of thing. And it's just been one after another here. I won't call anyone out, but it's been tough here in VOCM Valley for a little while, the last few weeks. And, you know, we're one big family here, and you don't need to. I know everybody gets that right through the radio, but yeah. So we've been dealing with a bit of loss, and at this time of year, it makes it that much harder. And of course, then I've noticed in the news, of course, Dr. Fala Maroon, who's a long time, originally from Lebanon, came to Newfoundland in the '60s. You know, what a contribution to this province's medical fraternity and the community. Heard Dr. Fury on this morning talking about him. A lot of social media there, so, you know, certainly want to send our best to the family and just, you know, what kind of thanks can you give for a man who's devoted that kind of a life to a new life here after, you know, relocating from his original country of Lebanon. It's just fascinating, fantastic, and not alone, but to lose him as well. What a just important person to our province for decades. And I want to say also a good morning and a heartfelt condolences and sincerity to my two friends, Tanya and Craig. Tanya and Craig Foley, who lost their dad last week at the age of 82. And I mean, Mr. Foley was a giant in the building and construction industry in the province. Murray Premises, you know, among Regional Award of Honor for Heritage Conservation, past president of Newfoundland Home Builders Association. It goes on and on and on. I could say a ton about the Foleys and Craig and Tanya in particular, who I know really well, good friends. I couldn't get to the wake yesterday, and obviously hard for me to get out of here this morning and get to the funeral today. But thinking about you at the Basilica this morning, And my best to you guys. Dave, how are we doing out there? Let's take that break. And right on to luck to 15. Okay, I'm getting better. Brian Callahan in for Patty today. The last couple of days into the home stretch for Christmas. Got something on your mind? Give us a shout. We'll have a gab. Be right back. So just before I welcome back to this program. I had such a tizzy here this morning. I had a bunch of notes and lost it all when a computer booted on me. Just a few notes, but I don't know if I forgot to say this or not, but it just occurred to me. I was just saying out to my friends Tanya and Craig Foley on the loss of their dad, and I'm not sure I said his first name. Frank Foley, of course, Frank Foley. And again, my best to Tanya and Craig. Sorry I can't be this morning, but I'm thinking about you guys and your family. All right, let's go right to the phone lines. Line 1, and Debbie, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
I'm Debbie Sampson.
Yes.
I have lived with the fallout of complex post-traumatic stress disorder and a seizure disorder as a result of a lifetime of trauma until I found healing. Like many people in our province, I did what I was told when I went to the medical professionals for years. I took my medication, went to talk therapy, and those things helped me survive, but they did not help me heal. And I just want to be honest about something. Had it not been for trauma-informed psychedelic cannabis treatment, I would likely be one of the statistics in our province, like so many others, like people who are over-medicated, incarcerated, lost entirely, disabled. I was disabled for 13 years until I found healing. But through my own healing and my 25-year career working as a counselor in this province, helping families, I realized, that trauma doesn't just live in our thoughts. It lives in our nervous system, and it has to be released. And if it's not released, it shows up with things like what I had, or anxiety, depression, addiction, and many other trauma-related illnesses. But, using psychedelic cannabis therapy, when it's done intentionally and safely, and I'm not talking about getting high, that's not what it's about, that helps the body release trauma that years of, for me and other people that I work with, just couldn't do with talk therapy and traditional medications. So we have to allow our nervous system to complete what it couldn't complete when we endured trauma. What I want to ask is, why we haven't, and I've written to the provincial government, and I've talked about this on Open Line before, but still there's nothing. And I'm asking, why we aren't having serious, informed conversations about psychedelic-assisted care, including cannabis, which, we're fortunate, it's legal in Canada. And, the same way other provinces and countries around the world are doing. There's much research, there's pilot programs, there's programs that are helping people. But Newfoundland and Labrador, it's not happening. And, there is a minimal amount of access to this kind of care in this province, but it's mostly private. And most people in this province simply can't access it. But our healing shouldn't depend on who can afford it. And I've written another letter to the new Minister of Health, and I'm hopeful that they'll entertain some dialogue and there'll be some action taking on the issue, because I think it's really important that we have the conversation and remember that trauma lives in the body and healing has to happen in the body. If it's not released from the body, we're not going to heal, and I'm living proof of that. And if we don't start talking honestly about this in Newfoundland and Labrador, we're just going to keep losing people. People deserve better. These conversations need to happen. Lives matter, and we need to stop pretending that the current system that we have is enough, because it's not enough. It's not working. Tonight, I'm doing a Facebook Live conversation with a lady by the name of Winnie Butler. I've been working with Winnie for over a year now. She lost her son by suicide last year, and we'll be discussing trauma, loss, and grieving if anybody wants to tune into that. But I think it's really important to have these conversations, get it out in the open, and realize that we need to do more to save people in our province who are suffering.
Yeah, Debbie, I tell you, your experience or your information comes from the experience, obviously. I mean, I'm not sure, maybe not a lot of people. I mean, I think we have spoken before.
I think we have, yes.
Yeah, I think you're a recipe. I think was the name of you had a book that was a recipe.
I have 2 books written. My first book is a recipe for complex PTSD and PNES, and my second book is My Body Remembered. But when I wrote the first book, you know, I thought I was healing because I was doing traditional talk therapy and taking medications, and that works for a while. For me, it worked for a while, but what it did was suppress everything. It just suppressed it in my system, and then every time something would happen, it bubbled up again. And I was suicidal. I was on psychiatric ward. I was, you name it, I was there. But when I wrote the second book, it's called My Body Remembered. That was my journey through healing using psychedelic cannabis therapy, and I have healed. The symptoms are gone. I don't have to have flashbacks and panic attacks and anxiety and sleepless nights and all those sorts of things. You know, the disability is gone. You know.
Yeah.
Great.
The psychedelics are not voodoo anymore. I mean, they're in many people's minds. They are, but they're not. They're becoming more and more mainstream. They're becoming regulated.
Absolutely.
They're becoming the work that's been done on them over the past decades. It's not like it's happening overnight. You know, there's been several, and I'll just say 60 Minutes, the CBS award-winning show, a show I don't miss, did fantastic, deep, in-depth, you know, followed people through the whole process, whether it was for psilocybin or whether it was for psychedelics with marijuana. You know, regulated. It's just there's still a taboo around it, Debbie. You know, I don't need to tell you. And that's,
I know.
And that's why
I'm still talking.
Yeah, and that's why there people. You know, that's why in certain jurisdictions, they'll drag the feet until someone makes the first move, and then of course you have the jurisdictional scans where people begin to sort of sign on and they'll join the crowd. But here in this province, when you think about, I hear you, and I'm sure the government hears you.
I'm not sure the government has heard me. That's why I'm talking and writing again.
I guess the difference is what I meant to say. Just let me finish this. They hear you. But whether they're listening is another completely, because now, as you can appreciate, when you look at the new government, a new health minister, they are very much feet cold water. They are. It's so early in this administration that their list of priorities, I can't even imagine. I mean, they have to get down to business one or the other. And when you have so many new ministers in new roles, I mean, you know, a lot of the deeper decisions are made by deputy ministers and assistant deputy ministers and people who've been in the positions for a while, and they know the territory. But by the same token, there's such a learning curve, and this is a little bit more on the fringes. No offense to you and the work you've done, but it is a bit more on the fringes than, say, you know, the problems they're having with reassessing whether or not the hospital out on Kenmount Road is going to still be built, or reassessing how they're going to deal with a $436 million over budget for healthcare in the following year, and on and on and on. And talk of, as we've heard, spending smarter. So,
but you know, spending smarter.
Yeah.
I just think about myself. You know, I was in the system and took up the time, of a psychiatrist for 13 years. Had someone given me a psychedelic assisted therapy at the beginning of that 13 years, I would have been healed in 2 years. Well, my trauma is extensive. Everybody's not going to take 2 years, and we're all different. We all heal differently. But imagine, and I mean, I spent nights in hospitals. I just wasted so much of the government's money. So if you look at it from that perspective, and you can heal people initially, instead of putting all the effort and the money and the training and everything else that goes into the facilities that are helping people, but we're only suppressing it. And I mean, you just look at the people that are in the hospitals, the people that are in jails. I guarantee you, and I've worked 25 years as a counselor to helping people in this province, and I know that underneath of all that is trauma. Trauma, if trauma is not dealt with, we're not going to fix the majority of things that we're trying to fix. And we can save so much money, save lives, help people, give people better quality of life. I mean, I had a wonderful career for 25 years, but my trauma and what resulted from it took that career from me for 13 years. And living with that disability was hell. But now I'm thriving. I've gone back to school. I'm helping people. You know, we can get our lives back. Please, listen. But I'll keep talking.
Yeah, and you should. And I'm just curious, what's been your... I apologize for not being completely up on this, but that's the nature of the biz when you jumped into the show like this, and I'm trying to catch up on everything. But I just want to, what's your knowledge or what's your understanding of the different jurisdictions across the province when it comes to psychedelics for marijuana?
You mean
other provinces? How are they dealing with it? Do they have anything in place?
And I'm not entirely sure exactly what other provinces are doing. I know for myself, when I started out on this journey a little over 3 years ago, I learned about it, and I'll just give an example, and that was 3 years ago, so I know there's a lot more being done. I contacted a doctor in Ontario who had been granted permission by Health Canada to do treatment with psilocybin at that time, right, with patients, and I begged him to take me because I was so desperate to heal. He couldn't take me because I didn't live in Ontario. So I had to go illegally to New Brunswick and use illegal psychedelics, and that's how I started my journey underground trying to heal. And it's a long story, and so I've written 2 books. Sure. And I came back to Newfoundland and discovered that the psychedelic cannabis, which is the high THC, used properly, used intentionally, safely, and in the proper setting, would heal me. So it's being done all across the province. I just did some training to become a psychedelic guide out of Colorado, and Colorado, oh wow, they're so ahead. People can go and access that, So I can't tell you exactly which provinces are doing what, but I just knew there's a lot of research being done, and that was 3 years ago that I reached out to Ontario, and I'm sure there's a lot more being done. I know there's ketamine facilities that you can go to. I was just going to say that. There's some private things that are happening here in this province, a couple that I'm aware of, but that's not okay. Most people can't afford that. We need it into the regular system so that people can just, MCP covers it. Right. Yeah, it can be glacial in its speed, given what you're dealing with and the type and the subject matter. And it should be said too, it's not for everybody. We know. Absolutely. I'll let you go on about that just for a moment and getting close to break. But just speak to that, because there seems to be kind of a global kind of this can help everybody. Maybe not everybody. No, and again, I don't know who it can help and who it can't help. It depends on what. Well, that's part of the problem that the government has too. But it's worth a try. That's the way I look at it. I was so desperate, and I just think about Jason, the son of the mom that I'm going to speak to tonight. Jason had I'm saying this with her permission, by the way, because she's going to talk about it herself. And Jason had a lot of trauma, and Jason's life ended, from suicide. And if Jason had the opportunity to do something, some psychedelic therapy, we may have had Jason here today. It's worth a try. There's nothing to lose, right? Yeah, no, on the surface, absolutely, except in the government's eye, there's time and money. And right now, I just get this feeling that they are into the deep depths, if I can be, repetitive, of the books and line by line. And I fear that, opening a new realm like this might be farther down the list of priorities than it was even for the last government, as they were already entrenched and into the routine. I wish you nothing but the best, and you can continue to update us here on this subject. I certainly will, and you haven't heard the last of me until we get some conversations going with government and moving in that direction. You'll hear from me again. Yep, no, absolutely, and I look forward to it, either myself or Patty. Debbie, thanks so much for the call this morning. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. Happy holidays. You too. Bye-bye. Thanks. All right, Dave, a little past the break. Let's take that one and right back with John. And welcome back to the program. It's Brian Callahan in for Patty for this run-up to Christmas. Let's go right to line number 2. And John, you're on the air.
Hi. I hope everyone has a great Christmas, but as we've heard already, some of us won't, and definitely people like me won't. People like me, we have EHS. It stands for electromagnetic hypersensitivity, and EHS has several symptoms, especially migraines, really bad headaches, so severe that they sometimes cause brain damage. And basically the brain swells up so much that it pushes against the skull, and it causes the horrible headaches, but also ruptures the capillaries and neurons, and that results in the brain damage. And it can even deform the skull, and that has happened to me. I noticed a peaked hump when I gave myself a close haircut earlier this year, and it was just, it was unbelievable. But as for the brain damage, according to my research, it's usually long-term or even permanent, and I have that too. As for the cause, I've done a lot of research and consideration of the information that I've come across, and in my informed opinion, these migraines and the brain injuries and the skull deformities, it's caused by excessively strong radio waves, which likely come from hacked cell towers that are then jacked up. In other words, they have their radio waves jacked up, either in the frequency or in the amount of wattage going out.
Just John, just as a big topic here, and not one we haven't covered before. But two quick questions. When you say your informed opinion, what's that based on?
Yes. Okay, I've done a lot of research on cell towers, for example, that they can be hacked. Basically, if you talk to any good
I
IT
don't doubt.
expert,
Yeah, and I don't doubt that they can be hacked. I'm just, clearly it's a touchy subject. A lot of people live near cell phone towers. We have these issues all the time. I cover city council on a regular basis. Whenever a tower goes up, the concerns are there, and it's been a controversy and a subject and an important topic for decades as to really what these waves are doing to humans. So just on that context, go for it.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, there are I've done a lot of research that towers can be jacked up, and not only that, but for a few years now, I've noticed that when I get the headaches, especially the short headaches that last only for about a second, those are the really intense ones, the cluster headaches. When I get those, they usually happen at significant times. If I look at my clock or my watch, it's usually at a significant time. In other words, it's the number on the clock represents a number that I know is significant to a particular person from my life, from my former life. He's an IT professional. He knows I'm extra sensitive to these types of radio waves, and I believe he is the one behind the hacks. And the other reason I believe that it is done by cell towers is because I have actually had instances where there's been other people who experience, based on their reaction, head pain at the same time that I did in public. But I just want to mention there's some confusion about radio waves versus microwaves. So I should say that according to my research, radio waves, millimeter waves, and microwaves, they all mean the same thing. They're radio waves. Different frequencies, but the terms are used interchangeably regardless of which frequency they're talking about when it comes to media insiders, media or industry insiders. And so it can get confusing for the public. But
absolutely. But John, what does your research consist of? Is this Googling documents and reports?
I mean, it's Googling documents, but even some very good documentaries, including on Havana syndrome. Now, I think also that some cases, at least some instances of Havana syndrome, I believe, are also caused by hacked towers. Now, I just want to mention real quickly.
Of course, Havana syndrome is more of an intentional allegation, against spy agencies.
What I'm saying is this is intentional. When these towers are hacked and jacked up, these are intentional criminal acts, right?
Well, it's not the same as a foreign company or country, intentionally firing off these waves at U.S. diplomats in Cuba. That's far different than a cell tower that might be, as you called it, jacked to get a better reception but causes more serious waves.
Yeah, the one thing I want to mention real quickly, I have a lot of information. I have a lot of information on this on my YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and search, I suspect my IT pro bro. I'll just say again, I suspect my IT. So capital I, capital T, pro. Bro, if you go there, there's a playlist of videos. You in that video, a lot of information in there, including one video. I think it's part 15, where there's documentary evidence the government did in 2022 under the Biden administration, that they admitted that radio waves can cause brain damage because some of these people who experience brain damage, they had MRIs done, magnetic resonance imaging.
John, do you you mentioned an IT professional? You have IT professionals that you've spoken to. What about a doctor? What about a health professional? Do you have a doctor who has?
Do
you have it? Let me finish my sentence. Can I finish? Just let me finish my sentence. Do you have a personal physician who has, or any physician, like a doctor's degree, surgeon, whatever, that has directly linked this to all of this?
No. One thing about the medical profession, this is another thing. Most doctors do not know that this is an issue. They don't know about EHS. EHS, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, it only became a recognized medical condition in Ontario this year. This is one of the reasons why I traveled from Newfoundland.
I would still take a doctor's, no matter what, I'd still take a doctor's opinion over an IT professional when it comes to brain.
The doctors,
waves.
They don't have it in their training, sir. The doctors do not have it in their training. Can I tell you one more thing?
Yeah. Also, I would I think you would agree with me that people should be wary of what they're looking at, whether it's your site or other sites that aren't official sites, actual official health and regulated sites. Like, there's all kinds of information. You're welcome. I'd just like to finish my sentence. Do you mind if I finish? There's all kinds of sites. Mind. There's all kinds of sites out there with all kinds of information. But wouldn't you?
This is my life.
But you're not going to let me finish.
This is my life.
So you're not going to let me finish. Okay.
I am going to let you finish. Yes. No. Sorry. Absolutely.
I was just going to say that there are many sites, I'm just asking people, and I'm sure you would agree, to be wary of all sites that don't come from an official source, that come from people who do a lot of their own very good work, and I'm not discounting any of the hard work you've done research in Google. People do it all the time. But, I think you would agree that one person's research without any kind of professional background, and more of your own personal health situation, which everybody's metabolism reacts differently. So applying what you've experienced to everybody else, or suggesting that this is what's causing, don't you think it might get a little bit over the top for some people who just may have a doctor who says, actually, this is caused by something else?
Sir, no. If you look at the research by professionals, I have references in that video in part 15.
Okay.
References to that study done by the Biden administration. There are professionals there who admit that radio waves could have caused the brain damage. And there's another documentary with professionals in it, sir. With professionals in it, there's a documentary called it's on the tip of my tongue.
And these are doctors?
No, Generation Zapped. Yeah, it's a free movie on. In Canada, yeah.
And these are doctor professionals, right?
They have scientists, they have doctors on that program, on that documentary called Generation Zapped. That are basic, and that's from 2017.
Yeah, I think the issue is that everybody's bodies and metabolism are different. I'm sorry that you're going through it.
Exactly. That's why only 4% of the population has EHS.
Okay, yes. and look, I'm really sorry. Only because of the time, I'm well over the break. I'll just give you 30 seconds to wrap up because I don't want to. I mean, hey, I got callers waiting. It's an open line show. You've had 10 minutes.
I understand. Sir.
So go for it.
I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity. And what I want to mention is I'm going to be on my YouTube channel all day today. So if anybody has any questions or comments after they see any of my videos, just leave me a comment there. I'll get back to you within minutes, because any other day might take me 24 hours to get back to you.
No worries.
Yeah, okay.
I wish you nothing but the best and the best of health.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care. All right, Dave, a couple of calls in the queue. Absolutely. Let's take that break and get right back with Claire, who's got a response to Debbie right after the break. Back to the show. Thank you, Dave. And I was just looking at this on the news today. What is the world coming to now? God forbid, Pizza Pops. They have, there's a recall on Pizza Pops. I don't know what to do. Possible E. coli contamination. I don't mean to make light of this, of course, but, when the Pizza Pops are being recalled, then I have to really reassess what I'm going to have for lunch. No. All joking aside, Pillsbury Pizza Pops, that's the brand, and they've been recalled due to concerns over possible E. coli contamination. And it's, let's see, what are the brands, just quickly. You got like the Pizza Pops Pepperoni and Bacon, the Supreme Extra Pepperoni and Bacon, the Pepperoni and Bacon 8 pizza snacks, 30 pizza snacks, and the 4 pizza snack Pizza Pops Frank's Red Hot Pepperoni and Bacon. I didn't know they had that brand. In any event, be wary, and if you're slinging them and firing them in the microwave today, you might want to check twice on our website, on the VOCM website. The actual numbers and the brand and the stock numbers are there just to make sure. And if you got them, probably best to get rid of them. Let's go to line 1. Claire is on the line. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm okay. A couple of tough ones so far, especially I think you're calling in response to Debbie. And I mean, the life, the youth and life she led as a young person, and everything she went through, and being able to, I mean, there's nothing like first-hand experience to try to educate others. So I know you wanted to call in response to Debbie.
Yes, so I have some firsthand experience myself as well with navigating mental illness and addictions, and I'm a former cannabis user, and I'm really, really glad that Debbie has found healing and help, and I always love to hear those kinds of stories. I just wanted to offer another point of view.
Sure.
So I believe Debbie's absolutely right. There's a lot of people that can find therapeutic value through psychedelics. But I just wanted to share my personal experience, and I know it's the experience of a lot of others as well. I just think for anyone out there that's really suffering and struggling, just understand that when people are saying, this worked for me, things are worth exploring, but everyone does respond really differently, and there isn't necessarily a one-size-fits-all treatment for mental illness and trauma. And unfortunately for myself, my cannabis use, I was a really heavy user for a long time, and I also used a really strong THC type, which can have psychedelic effects. And unfortunately for me, I actually experienced a psychosis from my use of cannabis. And I know for a lot of people that have psychotic disorders or mental illness, and I'm not saying that, I'm not here to say Debbie's wrong. Like I said, I believe that for some people, it is their miracle. It is what's going to work for them. But I just want to give a word of caution as well that it can also really aggravate symptoms for others. And if you have schizophrenia or an underlying history of mental illness or psychotic disorders, cannabis can also have the opposite effect and can kind of worsen your symptoms. So I just think it's definitely important to be talking to professionals and people with lived experience. And I would never advise anyone to try it on their own, like thinking, okay, I'm going to try this and see what happens and take this big trip. Like, I would definitely try and use a facility like Debbie mentioned, and just know that for some people it might help, for some it might not help for others.
Claire, I can't thank you enough, first of all, because it's the kind of addendum to an interview or to a chat on the air that I would love just for somebody to have weighed in on, and you did. So, you've hit the nail right there. That's exactly what I try to preach all the time with these things. Not that I'm any expert, but one thing I do know is that everybody's body is different. Everybody's metabolism is different. Everybody reacts to marijuana differently. Everybody reacts to alcohol differently. Your upbringing, what you can intake, whether it's gluten, whether it's, you think about all the various types of intricate diets and that people have and what works for you. You eventually, unfortunately, it's just like a job, your body is a job. And over years, you just become more experienced. You learn things. You learn how to react. Oh, this happened to me yesterday because I ate all of that. Oh, okay. And, I went to my doctor, 6 kids in our family, 3 boys. Dad had a bout with cancer years back, and he immediately put down the rule, everybody, colonoscopies, get the regular colonoscopy. And where it was in the family, it became a routine thing. And what I learned from that process that I didn't know, whether it's the importance of just drinking 3 or 4 glasses of water a day. That is incredibly, I can't believe what a difference that's made for me personally. And that's one of those things that, all due respect to what you're saying about, everybody's different. The one thing that I have seen across the board is a good intake of hydration, water a day, 4 or 5. It flushes everything, and it gets rid of, and people are taking all these Metamucils and loading up on the brand and all the rest of it. Water will do that for you, a lot cheaper too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it's true we're all different, but there's definitely some things we can all benefit from. And it's not to say that good nutrition and water are going to cure your mental illness, but those are the baselines, right? Hurt it. Yeah, they're certainly not going to hurt it. And do I have time just to share one more quick note?
You absolutely do.
So I also wanted to talk about a little bit about the idea of healing trauma, because I've gone through some of that myself as well. And from what I have learned, again, this is my firsthand experience. I'm not an expert, but I just want to share too that, if you have a lot of people do have trauma, but it's up to the individual whether they want to explore that or not. And I'm a very strong believer that you can experience a lot of healing from your trauma without necessarily reliving it or going back through it all. For some people, that's going to be important, but there is a growing body of evidence to support that you can experience a lot of healing from trauma through physical things as well, like yoga, different things. Again, that's not going to be for everybody, but for some people, like, again, every individual is different. So for some people, talking through what they've been through is going to really help them. For others, that might aggravate it. So again, like, really try to tune into your body. And you don't have to go back and talk about every dark experience that you've had to experience healing. I just want to share that. That's a personal belief of mine, and I think there is a little bit of credibility around it as well, but I can't quote anything.
Yeah, but no, you're absolutely right, Claire, and it's so important conversation, but it's twofold, right? It's one thing that your body is different than the next person's body, and what you intake and what you extake, whatever, is different. But then all trauma is different, whether it's childhood, trauma, or whether it's, armed conflict trauma, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's child, it runs the gamut. What we can be, what can stay in our brains that can mess with our physiological and daily lives that just come to you in different spurts. So, again, it just puts an exclamation point and a focus and a magnifying glass on the fact that two different people do different cases just cannot be. You have to find your own, and you have to find your own. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. But yeah, you really have to be, as it's on, like, of course, we all want help, but again, through my own journey, you really have to be an active participant you really have to be kind of motivated, and really, you are going to have to put some work in probably to find a course of treatment that works for you. And the last quick thing I'll share about my own experience, again, I'm not saying this is what's going to work for everyone else, but I have a year free of cannabis use, and it's the most mentally stable and well I've ever been in my life. I'm 34 years old, and I've struggled quite badly since I was 14 or 15. And again, but I don't think that's the one be-all, end-all. That certainly helped, and I no longer have intense mood swings and psychotic symptoms. All that went away when I stopped smoking cannabis. But I also do talk therapy. I take some medications, and I'm always working on lifestyle, movement, exercise, nutrition, drinking water. And it's all those things combined, and then social support. So it's, for me, I found when I started really healing was when I accepted, okay, this is a lifelong journey that I have to continue working on, and there's not going to be one thing that works. It has to be like a combination of things. Yeah,
and I think that's the last thing. I think it's really important that people just heard that you were able to just wean yourself off the marijuana, because there are people who believe their bodies are so used to it, and they get a little bit of a down day, and they go, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it. I know people like it, and it's important at least to try and see what you can, what your body can handle. But anyway, because of the clock.
It's difficult, and don't stop quitting. You might have to quit 100 times. But thank you so much for your time, Brian, and have a good holiday.
Yeah, no one said it would be easy. That's for sure. Thank you, Claire. Same right back to you. All right, Dave, off to the news. Brian Callahan on Open Line. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the program. On this home stretch for Christmas week, let's go right to line 1. And Jerry Earl, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian, to you and your listening audience.
Good morning to you, and happy holidays, best of the season, whatever is politically correct in your world.
Yeah, and the same to you and everybody listening. Certainly, I know for me, Merry Christmas to those that celebrate, and certainly wish everybody the very best across our entire province.
Jerry, there's an old saying, may we live in interesting times.
We do.
Would you like to pontificate on that for a moment?
Yeah, certainly difficult times across our province. Many experience different things. I know also the union represent a broad sector of Newfoundland Labrador people across the entire province. And like every Newfoundland Labrador, face challenges in the different work they do. And many don't realize the challenging work that many of our members do. I think of those that, like during the Christmas holidays, when people say we step away, I know there's a significant number of our members that report to work. I used to do it myself, and I just on a post that I remember those leftovers after coming home and working and having some pretty challenging days. So, yeah, that's one thing I really think about is those that still go to work and do it with pride, actually, in many of the areas that they work, and take time from their families and difficult time to make up.
Yeah, there's an out of sight, out of mind, not intentional, but maybe a lack of appreciation when it comes to that, the things that we don't see behind the scenes. We talk, for example, we just talk about, shortages of sheriff's officers, but then you think about people who are working down at HMP over Christmas, and that can become an even more emotional and risky time. The risk is always great in a prison, but given what's going on down there and other things. So I think about those people too, and everyone else who's, plugging away while we're home and cozy, some of us, and others really trying to be. So, but I know specifically, I think you might have wanted to have a quick chat about the P3 model. Yeah. I remember covering the news conferences a couple of years ago over what, when they first started about twinning the rest of the highway from Whitburn and then that section near Grand Falls. And, this was the way. It seemed to be the future. Makes sense, different partners, everybody's covered. What do you see as the rationale here for pulling back on that?
There's a number of areas, Brian, where, we have brought forward concerns around P3, and sometimes people have to understand P3 for a certain part of it is a financing model. But then some of these projects went further where it was going to erode the public services that it was going to be doing. And initially with this twinning of the highways, you may have remembered me pushing back about the campaign that we launched. They weren't just going to build the road, they were actually going to start doing sections of the highway with private contractors. And we were saying it didn't make much sense. One of the public sector plows going down the road and have to lift the plow for 20 kilometers and drive over a section of highway and then drop it again. Those kind of things did not make a lot of sense to us, and I had to applaud the previous administration for pulling back at that piece. And now Minister Patton, he reached out to me in advance and we had a conversation. Because this is one, in Newfoundland, Labrador, it's not that public sector employees build these highways. They certainly have input into design and engineering and some of those parts of the project, but it's always been Newfoundland, Labrador companies, primarily Newfoundlanders, Labradorians, who's work and have done great work. So I believe what the action that the minister taken here in the current government by going with the former process of construction of highways is a good thing. I never understood why we went to a P3 model with our highways. There are some places where it is used, and probably it's the only way a facility would get built. And the challenges that we had in the past, Brian, was that they weren't only talking about the building of the highway, but they were also turning over the services. And that was our initial problem with the highway. But I'm not sure why it ever went the route of P3 with the highway sections. So I commend the current administration for going all the way, and Minister Patton for stepping back from that and going traditional procurement and construction, because we do have incredible companies here in Newfoundland, Labrador that can do this work, have done this work, and hopefully continue to do it.
All the focus seems to be on, and I'll let you define this, what do you think the new government means by smarter spending?
That I always get concerns when I hear these terms, and I've heard that now, smarter spending. Then I heard the health minister this morning talked about revisiting some projects. And we got to be careful getting caught up in this terminology. Smarter spending, I've heard those terms before. I've been around for a very long time. I've been in this role that I am now for over 10 years, a full decade, around for longer than most of the politicians that are there now. But you got to be careful using these terms, because it sets a tone in Newfoundland and Labrador where workers become fearful. They start to tighten their purse strings and they won't invest in local business because they have fear of what may be coming. And we've heard this before, so all I'd caution politicians, be careful using this terminology, because it certainly plays on the mind, especially of workers, saying what may be coming. And they've been through it. Our members have been through difficult times where they've seen cuts and cutbacks. But I'm saying our message is clear. Frontline workers have given a significant amount for the last decade. With the current environment, fiscal environment in Newfoundland, Labrador, and across the country, none of this can be taken out on the back of workers. They are earning. They contribute to it. Like we just talked about at the beginning, Christmas Day, when most politicians, and including myself, will be home, hopefully on Christmas Day, many people, many workers are going into workplaces and that's what keeps our province going. It's those frontline people. So we can't expect them to contribute more. They have no more to give, and we'll be certainly looking in the new year to try to stay afloat and do better.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad if they would define it. I was at the news conference last week for the fiscal update when they first mentioned it, and to just throw that term out there, and we went back and forth a few times. What does that mean? No real, just we're just going to do what we can with what we have. But again, it's the lack of information again, and I know this government has built itself on, hammering away at the transparency and that sort of thing. It's been the least transparent so far that I can recall in a while. It's hard to get a straight answer on anything, and again, I get it. It's early days, and there's lots to be done, and there's lots of catch up and lots of learning curves for the new ministers. But if you're going to throw that term out there, I think it especially a term like that, given what we're all facing, $1 billion deficit, $20 billion in debt, $1 billion alone just to service the debt a year, which equals the deficit, ironically. I just can't imagine. Had you heard the term before last week? And I don't want to dwell on just terms or whatever, but they don't say, as we all know, words matter.
Yeah, and words absolutely matter, and people really hang on to words. And I know us in the Labour movement, me as a union president representing, like I said, over 30,000 members of Newfoundland and their families. Yeah, we really hang on this terminology. And I always say I wish politicians were more cautious of the words they use and realize the impacts it has across Newfoundland and Labrador. And again, I can appreciate there's a new government, and they certainly are coming into, and they have to take a look at a number of things. But nothing more important than the words that you state, because they will be hung on to. And I know we pay close attention to them, like yourself, Brian, the media. Everybody pays attention to words that are said. And Newfoundlanders and Labradorians really pay attention to them. We don't need in this province, this current situation. We have a lot of small businesses rely upon Newfoundlanders and Labradorians spending in those, and we encourage that. We do campaigns around it, talking about buy local. But if you start sending a message that this times are really tough, people will start to tighten their belts a little bit more, and we'll see impact in our communities and our small businesses, and we don't need that, especially going into the lean, hard months of winter. So that's all. One thing I'd caution politicians that are newly in government, watch those terms. On the flip side of that, I've met with the Premier, I've already met with the Minister of Health, and I'm encouraged by what I've actually heard from them face to face.
Well, in terms of what have you been able to? That's interesting. Just on that, when you say you're encouraged, what kind of specifics have they given you that's encouraged you?
Well, and you've always heard me say you got to recognize we have a problem before you can work towards it, and that's some of the conversations we've had with the health minister, for example. Recognize the problems of healthcare and the value that every healthcare worker brings. Because healthcare, I would say, it's a team approach from our health professionals to our lab and X-ray to environmental services to our EMS to social workers, many more. Everybody in the healthcare system plays a critical role, and hearing the minister talk about the value of each and every position was important. And then to a very open conversation with the Premier. It was just an initial meeting, but we had a very good conversation. And again, in talking about the value of frontline workers, what they bring to the table, many of the members we represent, talking about such projects as what are heavy equipment operators or those that repair heavy equipment, and them understanding those issues, and then talking about, as we go into the new year, like a collaborative approach. We have tried to do that for a long time, sit down and talk to ministers and government officials, because we probably deal with more departments in government than most. And the other unique relationship we have as a union is not only is Premier the government, he's also the employer of many of our members. So it's a unique situation. But again, just the openness of the conversation I was encouraged by, and recognizing, we have problems, and we're prepared to try to address them together. And both recognizing this is not something we're going to fix just tomorrow. So it's going to take some time, but being prepared to sit at the table and have those conversations is critically important. And when you make mistakes, stepping up, like quick one that they've done, obviously just touched on the sheriffs, for example, recognizing they didn't offer a seat at the table, and then quickly fixing that, admitting that that's something they should have done, and they quickly done it once we spoke out on it. So again, not being afraid to say, we made a mistake, you're invited to be a part of this. So those type of things go a long way, and I hope we can continue having that dialogue into the new year, because, like you said, we certainly have challenges.
Yeah, I echo that. Credit where credit is due. Everybody's eyebrows went up. What, you mean the unions aren't involved with those discussions? And immediately,
yes, no
worry about saving face. Just nope, error there. Although some would say it was a pretty obvious thing that they could have done, the fact that they missed that. But, I'm talking about all, everybody around the table. And a bit of short on time, but Jerry, I just wanted to ask you, the budget seems to be, next year's budget is what everybody seems to be, it's off on that peak, that mountain peak, but we can see it coming. And I'm wondering, in your conversations with the health minister and the premier, as you just said, very preliminary as they are, or even the finance minister, whether or not you've been given a good, clear indication that you'll be involved with all the decisions, because I'm curious how you think they're going to keep taxes lower, services at the same level, and not cut, and yet still dig into the deficit. I'm not sure how those numbers work.
I think there's a number of things that have to happen in the province. I think we're hearing about these projects that need to happen. We have a number of critical things in this province that's needed, not only in our country but across the globe, like critical minerals and other products that we have in the province that I believe we can tap into. And I think at the federal and provincial level, I think some of the things that we can offer, I hope. I know there's been questions around the MOU, and I certainly haven't delved into it enough to say whether it's an exceptional thing or a bad thing, but I'm hoping that the province can work to that. I believe that can be beneficial if we can work it out. For example, we got to get past this of having a hate for Quebec or making something political. If there's something there that we can look at or modify in the best interest of the province, but there's a number of things there in Newfoundland that I believe we can tap into. Well, it's almost like deja vu, the difficulties that we're hearing right now, but we've always gotten through them. We've gotten through them by working together. And we've had conversations so far with the ministers that we've met thus far, more to meet with in New Year and the Premier. I like the approach, the collaborative approach we've done with the previous administration. Some people don't understand. Like I've always said to the premiers and ministers, we're prepared to work together, but if you take an action that's going to adversely affect our members, obviously you're going to hear from us. That's my job, just same as a minister or a premier got a job to do. So but we're prepared to sit down. This is our province too. And like I said to the premier, we have one particular common interest. That's this place we live and we call home. And if we keep that as a focus of our attention, I believe we can do good things here in the province. And I truly think, as difficult as right now, our province does have a bright future, and that's something we got to all work towards.
Jerry, I know your time is precious, as ours is here too, but I've gotten a couple of texts and emails while I've been talking to you, just little questions people want to throw at me. A couple about the courts. I got to take a break. I don't know if you got the time. I know it's a little unscripted, but do you have a few minutes just to hang on and just go to 10:30 with me?
I can certainly do that.
Oh, God love you. Okay, Dave, let's put Jerry on hold just for a minute. A couple of questions that I'll be raked over the coals if I don't get to. So thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that. I know you're not busy at all as the head of the largest union in the province, but let's take that quick break and right back with Jerry. Welcome back to Open Line, and I'm going to join again now NAPE President Jerry Earle on line one. Jerry, thanks for hanging on. I'd be remiss. I have a number of messages here just about the courts. Can you give us a little update on what your understanding is of, or what you've been told, or any discussions you have of how much longer the issue, first of all, just at the provincial court level, small claims, civil matters, all those sorts of things that have been suspended, and you have people driving from Port aux Basques to Stephenville and these sorts of things for court appearances?
Yeah, unfortunately, Brian, these things are going to play out for another little while. That working group I was talked about, they had an initial meeting just last week. I was invited to attend personally by our labor relations specialist that oversees all of our court staff across, and not just sheriffs, like all the court staff that impacts this. At an initial meeting, what the minister has asked for is that a number of things be brought back, I think, as early as February.
Okay.
Some of the things we've talked about for a period of time. Bottom line, one of them is there is a shortage of these workers in the courts, such as our sheriffs and other court staff, which we've talked about for a period of time. There's a number of things that have to be done to retain the ones we have and then recruit new people to go into this system, because the work they do is challenging. They have to be recognized that, like in any system, they are part of that system. You just can't fix one piece without the other. And I said some time back, Brian, when they talk about bringing additional Crown prosecutors, well, they better think about bringing additional sheriffs and court staff, because you've reported on this, they all work in tandem. And one doesn't function without the other. And unfortunately, those positions, they haven't listened to what's happening there. So I think the results will come out of that some of them are quite clear. But unfortunately, for a short period of time at least, the court system is going to be impacted.
Do you think it's just going to be a short period of time? I mean, where are they getting?
Short. I'm certainly talking months for sure.
Yeah, like where are we getting sheriff's officers? I mean, I'm told by some themselves that there's nothing in the queue right now for training, and there hasn't been for about 5 or 6 years. So, and then there's a cost. Again, if we're not training them here, you got to bring them in, and then those are how do you lure them? With competitive packages, and all of those issues must be on the table. Are they not? I mean, the knowledge of the working group is critical here. I assume there's no muzzle on any of you guys. You can speak openly about what's being discussed.
You can go there openly, and I'd say some of these officers and other court staff, again, you've heard me say, Brian, listen to what the frontline workers have to say. Already they have been bringing to their union and continue to bring to their union issues that we can bring forward to this community that I believe can address it. And you touched on something there, like the pipeline of, because where training's done now, it's outside the province. It's not in Newfoundland and Labrador that's relying on that. We have an incredible public college system here in the university that's world known. We have opportunities, I believe, where we can look at doing probably provincial training. That's even a discussion that we've surfaced with the Premier. We'll talk to the Justice Minister further about. Corrections officer, for example, and it's the police academy in PEI. I'm quite familiar with it, having family members gone through there. But again, we've been relying there. We have a restrictive number of seats. This past year, for the former administration, we had talked to the former Justice Minister and agreed here for correctional officer, for example, done 2 courses right here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and have certainly helped our prison system. I think we could do similar with other professions, such as court staff and certainly sheriff's officers. But again, we got to recognize the ones in the system, make sure we are properly respecting them, and number one, compensating them, because they are not paid in comparison to others that work in the justice system. That's a clear problem that we've been saying since some time. So I think the solutions are there, and it's not going to take a long time to recognize, hopefully, if people listen, what the solutions are and work forward. Because there's people out there that we can retain, because part of the problem is, Brian, we are losing people from the system, and they're not necessarily leaving the province, they're leaving and going to RNC, they're leaving and going into corrections, and the reasons are pretty clear why they're doing that. So and those reasons are identifiable, so we got to keep what we have right now. We can't afford to lose any more. And then how do we fill the gaps that we have? And we're going to have to come out collectively with solutions. But they're there. It's just the willingness now to implement them. And I think one of them, I've used it over and over, a number of professions where, again, we didn't train advanced care paramedics outside Newfoundland, and we could convince the government to bring it into our public college. We do that here now. We train our correctional officers here now. And there's a number of others. We train like social workers here in Newfoundland, Labrador. So we could do that with others. There's young people out there willing to go into these jobs. There's experienced people willing to go into these jobs. If we recognize the value of the work and properly compensate them, recognize them, and retain them.
Yeah, and it's all in the face of spending smarter. I mean, I know that, and not to continue to harp on that, but I mean, that was it wasn't just a throwaway. It was actually in the prepared remarks that they had. So those words were chosen carefully. And, short of an about face on the MOU and signing that and pocketing $500 million by next April 1st, if that doesn't happen, we may be in for a long haul. I mean, every day that goes by with those missed cases in the courts, and not the criminal side of things, although the criminal is affected by the staff shortages with clerks and sheriff's officers and even judges sometimes. But I mean, they're shuffling around to do the best they can, especially at this time of year on vacation. So it's all quite a maelstrom down there. I'm just wondering, in the face of all of that, how they're going to do it. And every day that goes by, you must be feeling the pressure.
And Brian, some of this spending smarter, which I hope you're talking about, is this: you don't have to create new money. The amount of money that's being paid out, that's making people give up their time off, because that's one of the issues here with sheriffs and other healthcare providers and many, is the amount of overtime they're forced to work.
Yeah.
So the money is there being spent in excessive overtime and travel nurses and others. So it's not they had to find money. That's some case where I agree they could spend smarter, because if you had people, if these areas were properly resourced, they would not be spending exorbitant amounts of overtime and paying out millions of dollars, for example, to travel nurses, if the effort would have been there years ago to have people trained in place. So I think there's actually, the money is there, just the savings is there in the sense that they wouldn't be paying like we got sheriffs now that, for example, being taken out to community and traveling excessive amounts of time on their days off. So they're saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I can go somewhere else and not be expected to work these exorbitant hours. So I was arguing some of these systems, Brian, the money is actually there. That it's not that we need more. We just got to be wiser about it. So if that's where to use the terminology, spend smarter, properly resourced departments that were not into this exorbitant spending, then I think we can find solutions there. And they're there in healthcare. Like I know people that, people in my area just funds trying to list, well, how did so-and-so make it? Because they were forced to give up so many of their days off away from their families in challenging work already, not by choice, but because they were made to, because of the excessive shortages we have in a number of systems.
Gotcha.
So,
and then it goes to the health and the morale of the workers too, right? That's got to be in good shape.
Absolutely.
Jerry, I look forward to. Thanks for the call today. Best of the season to you and yours, and all your members. I look forward to good regular updates on that working group and everything else that's going as we head into budget talk. God forbid, shudder, in the new year.
Certainly prepared to do that, Brian, and I want to thank you and all your colleagues at the OCM. And if I just take a moment to say to every Newfoundlander, Labradorian out there, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and to all of those that's going to work over the holidays, a special thank you for what you do. And the other thing I'd ask people to do, there's many in this province hurting. Please be kind. You have no idea what that person next to you may be going through.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Jerry Earl, President of NAPE, thanks very much. Talk to you in the new year.
Thank you, Brian.
Take care. Thanks. All right, Dave, sorry about that. Dave's all mad at me. Let's take that break. Be right back with Bob. Going to talk a little bit about Dr. Fallon and the passing in the past few days. Right back after the break. Welcome back to the program. Just a funny thing, I was... Sometimes when I do the show, I try to listen a little bit, especially late last week when I knew I was coming in on Monday. But one thing I've noticed over the years, I'm just going to throw this out, there's always been on my mind. I'm almost tempted to make it a competition, but if someone out there can tell me the most spoken word on this program, and I know it for a fact, I know the word, the most spoken word for callers on this program. And I did a little unscientific poll there last week, I had a couple of hours while I was waiting for something in court, had the radio on in the background, listened to it, and I counted 63 times within an hour this particular word was spoken. So I don't know if I got any swag anywhere, Dave. Maybe I had or something, but I'll put it away. If someone can tell me what the most spoken word is on this program, every single day, English word. Fill your boots. Give us a shout. Let me know what you think it is, and we'll find a bit of swag to give away. I know we don't normally give away stuff on the show, but I just thought, hey, it's close to Christmas. I'm in a giving mood. I'm hoping that the bosses are too. Let's go right to line number 2, and Bob, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Listen, any better, and they'd have to come and take me away again.
Well, can I join your club?
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of people that are having a struggle this time of year for one reason or another, even if it's just surprise power bills. But I'm glad to hear that not just the right side of the sod, but the greener side. But you also called to talk about Dr. Maroon, I think.
Yes, absolutely. What an unsung hero that man has been. My family is very, very appreciative of what he done for my mother. In 1965, she had a brain aneurysm, And at that time, that was not a good thing to have, and it was more or less like a death sentence. And that man performed the surgery on my mother, and she was only a young woman then, 30 some years old, and extended her life until she was 92 years old.
So
Now,
65 years out of that.
Yes.
Wow.
And that man, he told my father later, who, then, because at that time, children couldn't go into hospitals, like you weren't allowed there, not like it is today, unless you were actually sick. And he told my father, and then my father passed it on to myself and my brother, that he stayed up all night reviewing a new procedure for that operation. And my mother was one of the first ones to have that procedure done.
Jeez.
Now, great things. But there's a twist to this story, too, about such a great mind that man had. 32 years ago, I became quite ill, and I was in the health science in intensive care for about 15 days. So between my pregnant wife and my mother, in those quiet rooms that you have there, they were taking shifts to be by my side and that there. And that man hadn't seen my mother until a couple of follow-ups after her surgery, and he walked past that door, stopped, turned around, and he looked in at her and he said, "Mary?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "Oh, you don't know who I am now?" She said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't." She said, "I'm Dr. Maroon." She couldn't believe it after all that time. Now, I just thought he might have recognized her because she was a well-known person that had a fish and chip joint on the go in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But listening to Dr. Fury this morning,
yes,
that was pretty much standard for what he would do. He would remember people and their backstory and all that stuff years and years after he had dealt with them.
But he picked the right specialty, Bob, neurosurgery, because that man's brain, whether it's his memory or his knowledge or his help or his intellect, I just can't tell you the number of messages we receive, just to people even just like yourself want to talk. And the fact that 65 years later, I'm sorry, and forgive me, is your mom still with us?
No.
I'm sorry.
No, she passed away there last year. But
okay.
Listen, excuse me, she had a great run at
95.
it. After that.
Should be so lucky.
Right? And, it's a funny thing. It was only last year, myself and my brother were talking about it, and we said, we should send him a card or, something, because apparently he still had an office down east somewhere,
Yep.
But so appreciative, myself, my brother, and my father, for what he did. It was fantastic, and it was groundbreaking at that time.
Yeah, it's just amazing how we can just it amazes us sometimes. We're Newfoundland and Labrador, but people come and want to stay and do that and devote their life's work to that kind of, we should be so fortunate. And, you look around and you hear all the, I don't want to use that word. There's a ton of words. The very not nice things people talk about immigration, maybe, it's the very basics of it, the opportunity that he was able to come here and not just stay for a little while, which was the plan for locum, but just to stay and just devote your whole life. We get it because we love the place, and we get it when people get it and love the place who aren't from here. He fell right into that category, but he was us. There's no, the effect that he's had on so many lives in this province cannot be, and again, I quote Dr. Fury, his impact cannot be measured in years or titles, but in lives saved and skills passed on.
Absolutely. And mine is only one story.
Yeah.
That's all. There's so many thousands of more between that man laying his hand on a person or the training that he gave other people. We in Newfoundland were so lucky to retain him.
Yeah, and if nothing else, it should remind us the importance of accepting others from other parts of the world, for whatever reason.
Sure. Yep.
Absolutely.
You know.
Bob, I
Anyway,
can't
listen.
thank you enough for the call. I just hope others, anyone else, feel free. Don't think it's been done. Bob's had his say. Everyone's been touched. So many people have been touched in different ways by Dr. Maroon. And I invite you to do as Bob's done here today and give us a shout and tell us all about it.
I'm just glad I had the opportunity to do that, because without the platform that you guys have, I wouldn't be able to reach so many more people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we appreciate
Anyway,
you taking advantage of it.
All the best to you and yours, and have a safe holiday.
Same to you, Bob. That's the most important part. Be safe. Great. Thanks for the call.
Sure. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, Dave, take a break, and then we're back with Jason. He's got a bouquet, not a brick. That's good. Right back after the break. And welcome back to the show for this Monday. Just a little update, too. I'm noticing an update on the weather. And yes, indeed, high winds, heavy snow coming to the province for Christmas. So it will be white, maybe a little late on Christmas Eve. But if you wake up Christmas morning, it'll be just like Groundhog Day. Mostly, and, they're looking at mostly the Avalon and the eastern portion of the island. Starting the southwest, going eastward, starting overnight on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. So if you were hoping for a white Christmas, hang out till the 25th and you may just be in luck. Hopefully not to a detriment. Let's go right to line 4. And Jason, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the lady at Walmart that returned my wallet for me this morning. I am so appreciative of her right now.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah.
The heart the heart drops, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. I mean, there's a bit of cash in there. It probably looked tempting, but I mean, my ID and cards and all that. Oh, man.
Oh, Jason.
Christmas would have been everything would have been fooled up here now for the next few days. But
God, the cash can be replaced, right? Yeah, the cash can be replaced, hey? And I mean, but when you think of the trouble you'd have to go through this time of year.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about it. Where and when?
It was the Mount Pearl Walmart. It happened about an hour ago, and I was going down the aisle, and I reached in my wallet, and I panicked then. And then I don't know how I heard it, but I heard my name going over the speakers. I mean, I never listened to that at all.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
So, anyways, just a heartfelt thank you to whoever the lady was. I just know it was a lady, and thank you very much.
Didn't get her first name on her Walmart greeter tag?
No, I didn't. No. I think it was just someone else shopping there that dropped it off.
Right. Do you know where did you leave it? Where did you lose it?
Somewhere on the aisle. That's all I could think, because it popped out of my jacket going down the aisle.
Oh my God.
And, it's packed in there, right? It's absolutely jam-packed in there right now. I'm glad she found it.
And the fact that somebody found it, turned it in, boy, I'll tell you, they do exist. The angels do exist, and everything happens for a good reason. But I'll tell you, I've got a little wonky. I've got my favorite jacket this time of year. It's just the right temperature. It's not too cold, and one of the zippers is a little wonky, so I don't leave anything in that one because I'm always afraid it might just slip out or whatever. So I try to stuff my wallet or my cell phone in the other pocket.
Yeah.
And then you got the check, right? You got your keys. I won't go. It happened to me once at Walmart. Actually, I just laid my keys and my wallet happened to be in my right hand, laid it on the cooler next to the eggs, just so I could check the eggs with both hands, make sure they weren't broke, right? You check the crack, make sure there's no cracks. And whatever it is, I walked away. And when I got to the cash and realized I'd left it, my heart sank like you wouldn't believe, because it was the keys.
Oh, it's not hard.
And the wallet and the ID and the credit and the debit, which is tap, and you never know.
God.
And I couldn't find it, and they turned it in. So shout out to Walmart today and the Walmart workers, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure she knows, they know who they are, but it's good people out there. You're a very lucky man. I got to be honest.
I actually think it was a shopper. I do think it was a shopper. I think it was a shopper. Is kind of what I was told. But whoever, it doesn't matter who you are. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we got so much going on. Just a great reminder to do your check, right? Where's the wallet? Where's the phone? Where's the keys?
That's right.
And where are the kids?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You don't want to leave them behind.
Don't leave them behind.
I'm going to chip a couple bucks into the VOCM carrots here today, just in honor of her. I appreciate that.
Wicked. Well, we always appreciate that. That goes to the best causes ever, too. So that's great, Jason. I'm glad it worked out well for you today. Holy moly, 2 days before Christmas.
Oh, I can't even believe how I'm feeling right now. But, Christmas is saved anyway. Put it that way.
I can feel it. It's palpable right through the phone line. So good on you and good on the crowd at Walmart in Mount Pearl. And, wow, that's a relief. Good for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
all right,
man,
have
thanks.
a great day.
Yeah, you too. Have a happy holiday.
Bye.
All right, that's Jason. We take Penny, Dave. Let's go to Penny on line 1. Penny, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. I just heard your little contest there about the most words you think that would be said. It's my first time ever calling in.
Well, I'm glad it worked. No, it wasn't a ploy. It was just on my mind last week after I went through it. And over the weekend, I was like, I wonder. And we don't do, this isn't a formal VOCM contest or anything, so there's no drawing names and that. I just thought I'd throw it out there for some quick phone calls. You never know, to see who might, because, a lot of people listen to VO, and I'm just curious if you hear the word as much as I do. It's just a word, really, but it could be a phrase. What's your guess?
I think it would be yes, bye.
I don't know if that's on the list. I would say it's there, but it's not what I'm looking for. And once you hear it, you'll know it.
Okay. Well, thank you and Merry Christmas.
Penny, thank you so much for calling in. Keep an ear to it. God, I'd love to give you something, but we'll see. If no one guesses it, we'll call you back. Just for calling.
All right, my darling. Have a good day.
Thanks, Penny. Take care.
You too. Bye.
All right, Dave, where am I going just before the news break? What do you want to do? Oh, yeah. Okay, great. We got another guest. Excellent. Turn it into a contest. The bosses are going to kill me. Or not. Maxine, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes. The reason I'm calling is this word that I hear, and Petty Daly says it all the time, is top shelf.
Okay, that's, I guess, technically 2 words. It's a good guess. I think it's probably there in the top 10 somewhere, but it's not the one I'm looking for. And as I said, when you hear it, you'll know it.
Oh, well, okay then.
Thanks,
you.
Maxine.
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks. Only
Have
a couple.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, my God, you too. Best of the holidays, all you and yours.
Yeah, and only health and happiness throughout 2026, my darling.
Oh, my God. Wish that for every single human being breathing. Absolutely.
Okay, then.
Thanks so
you.
much, Maxine.
Bye-bye.
Okay, go to Bob. Let's take Bob on line 3. Bob, you're on the air. How are you?
Oh, I only better have been in a coma.
Did you say if you were any better, you'd be in a coma?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you're not in a coma. You don't sound like you're in a coma, so that's a good thing. I don't know if that would make you any better, but what's on your mind?
There's a scam going around, I got a messenger on my phone on Messenger, and they said that I won a trip.
Yeah, me too.
For 365 days for $100.
So a year-round trip for $100.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd take that.
You can have it, buddy, if you want to.
That sounds like the epitome of if it sounds too good to be true. Bob, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Have you decided where you're going to go yet?
If I gotta stay home and get drunk.
Okay, I don't recommend that for everybody. Everything in moderation. But you do what you got to do. If you can't take that trip around the world for 365 days, that sounds like the next best option. It sounds like it, Bob. All joking aside. Do you know the number that came up on your phone? I'm curious because these days, I will just give you one quick little tale of my own. I got a text the other day, and I've never really, you get text scams all the time too, but the text I got actually had the first, not just the 4 numbers, but the first 5 numbers of my virtual debit card. And so it caught my attention only because the numbers were matching, and so I didn't click on it, but you do your thing. I called my branch, and then I checked my online bank account, and there were no irregularities or anything, so I started, you do your little checklist, but that was the most sort of, intelligent one I've seen in a long time. It got me for a minute until I did the proper checks, but I'm pretty sure yours might be a bit of a hoax.
Yeah, I don't have the phone number, but global travel was what it was, and because I wrote down the email that you had to go to, right? So I just figured it was a scam anyway.
Did you try calling them back?
No, I didn't try calling them back.
Yeah, I'll do that sometimes, just to call the number and see what happens. A lot of times it just goes dead and they cut you off, but just... Oh,
yeah, they cut you off. I found a couple back and they just cut you off, right?
Yeah, the newest thing I've seen now are the local cell phone numbers. But anyway, Bob, it's a great, especially timely, reminder this time of year. Not that, I mean, the scams are everywhere, but you just can't.
Yeah.
They'll take for whatever, and there's no conscience involved whatsoever. Great heads up, Bob, and another great reminder to beware this time of year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, man. Have a good day.
All right, Bob. Merry Christmas. All the best.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, Dave, right on the news there, buddy. Let's fire off into Sarah's in the newsroom. Let's go back to Sarah Strickland for a news update. We'll be right back after the news.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And welcome back to the show. So, lots of interesting and great response to the informal little swag contest we got going on. Hey, Dave. So, I just want to remind you, too, so there is an open line at vocm.com email. I don't have as easy access, and for whatever reason, unable to log in here in the studio, although Dave and I were just looking at some of the guesses in the email, and there's no correct guesses there either, but we would much prefer you gave us a shout about this one, because it's all about getting somebody on the air so you can actually say the word, which is the point of it. But so again, 709-273-5211, 1-888-590-VOCM, that's 8626. We'd love for you to call. If you can only send an email, that's fine, and it'll be less dramatic when they say it on the air. But if you've got the time to call, we'd love to have callers on this little contest just to see if you can figure out the most used word on Open Line, and it's been this way for decades, just so you know. Let's see, where are we going? Yeah, let's try a couple of guesses, and then we're going to get to Pam Parsons, the MHA for Harbour Grace, Port Grey. But let's go to Michael. You're on line 2.
Yeah, I was going to say Patty, but I've been on go for years, not Patty.
Yeah, there you go. There was my other little test. Yeah, no, it's not Patty, but good try. Thanks very much. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
No sweat. And let's try May on line 4. May, you're on the air.
Sorry, I had the same answer, Patty.
Yeah, that'd be almost too obvious, but believe it or not, it is very obvious. It's one of those things that can be so obvious, it's right in front of your face, but you don't. So, but thanks for the guess. Appreciate it. How's your holidays going?
Oh, great. Thank you. And
Great.
yours?
Couldn't be better right now. So far, so good. I got 2 days to go, so into the home stretch. I can't wait.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I got a call for just fun.
Thank you very much, May. I appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. Wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. And, you know, I'm just going to say that the last 3 callers I have had have all used the word. Just saying. Let's see. Where are we going to? Pam Parsons on line 1. Pam, you're on the air.
Well, Brian, I must say, I really like your style when you're on Over the Line and how you engage guests, and I think it's real cute that contest you've got on the go.
It's called Seat of the Pants.
It's nice and lighthearted for this time of year, especially. But I just wanted to call in and simply say I certainly extend Merry Christmas, best season greeting wishes, of course, and the best for a happy, healthy New Year to everyone, especially here in my district, my constituents here in Harbour Grace, Port Grey, and across Newfoundland and Labrador, a great province. You know, with all the challenges that we do have, we certainly do, have a lot of blessings here in Newfoundland and Labrador. I always say, and you probably would agree with me, that we live in the best province, in the best country. So I hope people take the time to reflect and spend time with family. And, of course, always check in on our seniors and those in need. And just a reminder to us, and especially here in Conception Bay North, here we have a happy tree in the Bay Roberts Mall. And just a gentle reminder for those, if you're able, of course, to get out there and to make your donation, because it would mean the world of difference on Christmas morning to families, of course, who are less fortunate, as we all know. And I'm getting ready now to go over with with Santa, dropped off some things here for me to get to that happy tree. And Brian, I'd also like to invite everyone to come out to our world-renowned boat lighting.
Okay, you just took the words. You just took the words right out of my mouth. I wanted to ask you about it.
In Port Grey, we had a lovely ceremony just a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, past Friday. And, this event is well attended by locals as well as many visitors from other communities. And that said, actually, with the organizer, Joyce Morgan, I have to give her a hats off. She's been doing this for quite some time, and it's a success each and every year, and she puts a lot of heart into this, as well as to all of our harvesters. Big heartfelt thank you for the time that they take to decorate their vessels, of course, their boats, and as well as everybody on the peninsula, the Portgraves Peninsula. We've got the Candy Cane Lane, we've got the Crab Pot Christmas Tree Spectacle that's out at the Canon Richard Tea Room there in Barronede, and also the Town of Bay Roberts. They have their Festival of Lights, where you can actually tune in to a radio station, and the lights actually dance to the music that's on the station at that time. And there's just so much happening everywhere. I mean, Harbor Grace is lit up. I mean, it's always a great excursion around the bay to get out, conveniently located just outside of St. John's, of course, as you know, about an hour. So certainly lots to see and do to come on out around the bay and to see what we've got out here. But that was the reason for my call today, and I look forward to, I will say, though, I am disappointed that we did not get a chance to get in the House of Assembly. As we know, the fall sitting was canceled by the new premier, and of course, as you know, that's where we get to ask questions. MHAs get to ask questions on the floor of the House of Assembly, and where debate occurs and where new legislation occurs. And as we know, there are a lot of promises made, and so we need to get in there. We need that dialogue. So the spring session is scheduled, I think, for March on the parliamentary calendar, but who knows? Maybe we'll get in a bit early, but that's something that needs to happen. So other than that, though, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, including yourself. And of course, Brian, play some music now at the holidays. I know I will be.
I know you will. And I'll give you that after. Where are you playing, Pam? You musician that you are on the side. What do you got gigs lined up?
Well, there's been a lot of performing this month, of course, for district things as well as other events. But I'm looking at really spending some good quality family time to get some rest time. And of course, my family is really musical. We all love music. I grew up around music, and so we'll be doing lots of that, of course, at home and with relatives and all that stuff. So
got a few gigs lined up myself. It's gonna be nice to get out and play some Christmas music with the boys. I just wanted to mention, you did mention, and I don't want to get too bogged down in politics, but I got 1 minute here left. I like you, and politically, I thought, a lot of people the push was, we should get back in the House of Assembly before Christmas, at least, to debate a couple of things. But, the more I think about it, I mean, the learning curve, the change of government, I'm not sure how much would have been able to get done, to be honest with you. I mean, if you want to talk, the reason we would want to get back in the House is to really have at least some good, focused preliminary discussions on the MOU, certainly, but other things too about where things are going. But there's so much on the plate right now. I don't know where they would have found the time in the calendar, and just getting their feet wet. I just don't know in the long run whether or not it would have accomplished a whole lot. I think it would have been more of a rush. It would have been a little bit too mayhemish, and especially given the learning curve that needs to be learned. And that's not a knock either way on either party. I just don't know whether or not the resources and the time that would have went into reopening the House, I'm not sure how much would have got done when the actual brought into session would have happened. So, but I do hope, they're going to have to really buckle down after the new year and really get to business. And I hope it's as open and transparent as they have promised.
Well, that's it. And I mean, the fall session usually lasts about a month. And that said, there's a lot of significant support with House of Assembly staff. But that said, too, there are a lot of seasoned long-term politicians who are on the PC side, so they know how the process works. And, so it wouldn't be new to
well,
to a lot
not from the government side, of course.
One comes to mind, Minister Petton, who also worked for the administration when the PCs were in power. So, but that said, too, here's another point, though. There were no confidence bills. There's never a confidence bill put forth in the fall setting, so therefore there's no risk for government falling. But that said, there's some legislation that could have gotten done. I know my colleague Sarah Studley, the critic for finance and shadow minister, pointed to the tax breaks that could have easily been done prior to the new year that would have helped businesses throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. Just one to name a few. But that said, and again, that MOU is crucial. We do know that the time is ticking on that one, and it's a generational deal. So unfortunately, it's not an independent committee, as the Premier had promised it would be. It's a hand-picked committee, as we know, with, of course, one of the players, the person who brought us Muskrat Falls from Emera in Nova Scotia to represent those interests. So, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot to talk about, and I look forward to getting down to that business, hopefully in the new year, because as we know, the business of the people never stops, whether it's Christmas, Easter, whatever. I mean, it's a really important business to tend to here on behalf of Newfoundland and Labradorians. And so I look forward to doing that. But on that note, I wish everybody a happy, healthy Christmas, a beautiful, prosperous New Year. Again, my constituency office, anybody, if I can ever help, certainly my office number is 786-1372. So we'll do with everything that we can to help our constituents. And again, I just hope everybody has a great holiday.
Awesome. Right back at you, Pam Parsons, MHA, Harbour Grace, Portagrave. Have the best of the holiday.
Okay, take good care.
Great. Thanks, Pam. All right, Dave, off to the break. Got a few guesses, more than a few guesses coming in, and we'll get right to them when we come back. Welcome back to the show, into the last 40 minutes or so for a Monday. Let's go to line number 2, and Daphne, you're on the air.
Hi, just taking a stab at the magic word.
Hi, Daphne. You're the only other Daphne I know is my mom, so I'm going to shout out to my mom here. Great opportunity.
Well, very good. Hello, Daphne, your mom.
Perfect.
Would it be the word line?
No, I'm sorry. I get that one. Okay. Because either open or line.
That seems obvious, yes. Okay.
No.
Merry Christmas to you and your family.
And the funny thing is, it is kind of obvious, too. But I really appreciate it. Daphne, thank you very much. All the best to yours as well. Merry Christmas.
You too. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Okay, let's go to, let's see, Linda on line 6. Linda, you're on the air.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Great.
Would the word be collar?
No, but another top 10. It's in the top 10.
Okay.
But nope. Keep them coming. We got a lot in the email as well, but we really hope you'll call. And we have nothing, no correct answers in email either, just so everybody knows. But we'd love for you to call instead. But thanks anyway.
Thank you. Merry
Linda,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Great opportunity to tell more people Merry Christmas. This is awesome.
That's right, isn't it, though?
Great. Okay. Best of the season.
Okay,
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's
Bye.
go to another Linda on line 5. Linda, you're on the air.
Is this me this time?
It is you this time.
Okay. How about the word good?
It's a good word, and it's a good guess, but it's not the right one. I'm sorry. You can't not good. Thanks, Linda. Let's keep them coming, people. Let's see. Let's just keep going rapid fire here, Dave. Valerie on line 3. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm just dandy now. I'm really curious to see if anyone's going to nail the word, but go for it.
I would say
No, that's kind of more an expression, I think. But good guess. No, it's an actual spelled word in the dictionary. I'm not sure is. You mean as in A-H, as in
Yeah.
As an expression. No, it's not that one. Yeah. But good guess just the same. Hope you're having a great Christmas and holidays. Anything else on your mind?
No, my darling, that's all I wanted to say today, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. It's a great opportunity, as I said, just to say Merry Christmas to as many people who want to call in. So that's awesome. Thanks, Valerie. Best of the season.
You too, my darling.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Okay, take care. Bye. Line 4. Stephanie, you're on the air. Give her a go. So in the category of is not
the same, but
yeah.
I would say
and would be a good one too, but not the one we're looking for. And trust me, I think it'll become kind of clear when we do get there. But it's not it's not and it's not and. But keep them coming. Thanks for the call.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Best of season.
Same to you.
Thanks.
Be safe.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And let's go to line number 2. Cindy, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering, would the word be no? I know.
No, as in N-O or K-N-O-W. No, it's not the word no either.
K-N-O-W.
And just to get it out of the way, it's not yes either.
Okay, my husband said he was going to get me a jar to put a dollar in. Each time I says, I know.
Yeah, I know someone I could make $1 million off doing that.
All right, perfect. Have a great day. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Thanks, Cindy, very much.
Take care.
You
Bye.
too. All right, let's go back to line 4. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you calling to guess the word?
Yes.
I feel like this is the old Groucho Marx, can you guess the secret word? Or even Bangor, Maine years ago in the great Money movie on Channel 7, Eddie Driscoll. I don't know how many people out there remember what I'm talking about. What do you think the word is?
Just.
Bingo. Bingo. And every caller before you, sorry, what's your first name? You don't have to give full name, but first name?
Nora.
Nora. Every caller before you and after has used the word. Everyone, I'm just calling about the word. I'm just calling to say I just wanted to know. I just had a minute. It is the most used word. I challenge anyone. If anyone else, I look forward to being knocked off that cliff. But the most used word that I've ever heard on Open Line is just in every context. So stay with Dave there. Give Dave your number. I think he has your number. And we'll be in touch, and we'll get you out something nice for Christmas.
Oh, thank you.
God love it. Thanks, Nora.
All right, thanks.
All right, I was hoping we might drag that out another half hour, but... All right, thanks, Nora. We'll be in touch. All right, that was completely spontaneous. That was just something that I was on my mind over the weekend, and normally I don't remember them once we get to the actual day of the show, but I jotted that one down, and I thought it might be fun, and it was. So thanks to all the callers. Don't stop calling just if you just want to call and say Merry Christmas to somebody here, far away. You know now we're worldwide reach these days with the World Wide Web and VO, and our traffic shows it. People all over the world log on, especially expats all over the world. So if you want to call in and wish somebody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, anything you want. There's no limits here on Open Line, within good taste, of course. Dave, will we take one more quick call before we get to the bottom of the hour? What do you want to do? Okay. All right. Let's go to line 2. Call, you're on the air.
Oh, could you just hang up, please? It was a mistake.
No worries. Thank you very much. And you just said the word, too. So there you go. That caller there just then said, I just called, too. It was a mistake. And let's go to line 3. Gary, you're on the air. Gary, you're on the air. And you might want to turn your radio down. Got it? Okay, Dave, what do you want to do? There's no one on line 3, sorry. Where do you want me to go? Oh, okay, let's go to line 4. Line 4, caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Good morning.
I'm going to use that as my answer. Hello.
We just had the correct guess, which was the word just.
Oh. So, and I had just in there, too. That's excellent.
And you had too, there, too, but... There you
combination.
Go. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, thanks so much for the call. Merry Christmas.
Bye now. You too.
Great, thanks. Dave, what'd you say? I missed you on that while I was discussing. Yep, okay. Okay, so on that note, I just want to remind you, too, yes, we take the email that's there. It's hard for me to get in there and be able to respond to everything, especially some of it is out of context and related to other people who were calling last week. So I try not to get into a back and forth on Paddy's email, only because he's got like threads going there with discussions that and I have not been party to last week. So some of those are a little bit... just worth making a phone call instead of an email, so we always appreciate that because it is an open line program. Anyway, just a few seconds before we get to the news, just another reminder, I got a call. They're asking me what kind, or not a call, but a personal text asking me what kind of pizza pops were recalled. So, you never know what's going to make all the news and all the rounds on Open Line, but I'll just reiterate again. It's Pillsbury, of course, is the brand name. And certain types are being recalled over concerns of E. coli contamination, of course. You can see them all online there as well. On our website, there's a link right to the food recall warning on the Government of Canada website. So if you want a little bit more specificity on that, you can check it out our website. And again, it's Pillsbury Pizza Pops. All right, let's get off to the news with Sarah Strickland and into the final home stretch half hour of Open Line for Monday. We'll be right back.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
And welcome back to the home stretch. Open Line. Brian Callahan in for Paddy today. And just quickly to Wayne on line 4 before we get to Margot. Wayne, you're on the air. Wayne on line 4, Dave? Nothing there. Do you want me to take... Okay, let's go to Margot. Line 8. Margot, you're on line 8. First caller on line 8. Oh, you must be special. Good morning, Margot Cranford. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you, Brian. I liked your word that you used just previously, spontaneous, because I'm calling about the instant choir that I attended for the first time yesterday at the third floor in the rooms.
The instant choir.
This is the Festival 500 group.
Yes.
And anyway, the player, of course, was who played the organ is Peter Halley, so well known.
Oh, yes.
And Julia Halfyard led, and what a beautiful, beautiful singer. But it was incredulous. I had to sit down because, of course, I have arthritic knees. But most of the people, which Gary figured was close to 300, gathered, and we sang Touraluraluralay, and both pages.
Nice.
Oh my goodness! And apparently, it's going to be put up on what is it, Gary? Facebook.
Right.
So
yeah, that
it'll
thing.
Be Insta Choir.
That new thing.
I'm not that familiar.
No.
To tell you the truth. Rooms 500, but it was a beautiful experience, and I'm surprised that I didn't see you there, sir.
Oh, well, Margot, let's say 3-4 days before Christmas, I'm a little up to my neck. I'm close. I live close by, and I would have went. It was free. There was no ticket required, and family, friends, visitors. If I could have been there, I would have. There was that many things on the go yesterday. I couldn't get to a wake for a friend of mine. Things just kept coming at me.
Goodness.
So I've got some things to make up for this week. But it's fantastic. I love the idea of the instant choir.
Yeah, I did too. And as I said, it's the first time I've ever attended, and it was magnificent.
Yeah, and the acoustics there are so good too. But was there any Christmas in Killarney, or is?
No, it was just that one song.
Oh, I would have missed that.
By the Punters, and
Gotcha.
Anyway, they did a great job on it, but so did we. And anyhow, there's a line in it, bringing gifts to the king, and now we do have King Charles III. So maybe it can make its way over to England as well. And
yeah.
But the other thing, of course, I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't do this, and Flanker Press is so happy this year. We have Mrs. Brown's Kitchen, the #2 cookbook in Canada, and we have sold, from September, we have sold close to 25,000 copies.
Jeez.
The brilliance that Heather brought to it is that throughout the book there are QR codes, Brian, and you can go in and watch Heather make that dish, and she is hilarious. She's really funny, I got to say. So anyone out there looking for a last-minute suggestion, head to your bookstores or Costco and get your copy.
Margot,
and if you see me around, I have bookmarks in my purse, of course.
I got to say, of all the years you've been doing this with Flanker, yourself and your fine husband there, Garrett, Mr. and Mrs. Flanker, I affectionately respond to you as. Shout out to Garrett too there. All the years you've been doing this, did you ever think you'd see the day that there'd be QR codes where you could flick to a video and watch the person doing what they're doing in the book?
You know something? QR codes were not in my vocabulary, to tell you the truth, But as I said, we're very glad she came our way, and God bless her. Her and her wife were up to our house yesterday to drop us off a tin of cookies and a cherry loaf, which we enjoyed half of the tin of cookies yesterday.
You know it's Christmas when?
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, Merry Christmas to everybody out there, Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada, the world. And we appreciate everything that everyone has done for us in supporting us.
Well, Flanker wouldn't be where it is if it weren't for the support of this province. The amazing work you do, let alone getting everywhere across, driving back and forth, and all the pit stops you guys make. And just as a little side note, I've got some good news for you. But I'll be in touch with Jerry in the new year on that.
Good stuff. I know what it is. I got a hint.
And you know where it is. You know what it is. You know where this is going.
You know how much I love your writing.
Well, I finally found some time, so I'll be in touch with Jerry in the new year, very early in the new year.
All right, darling.
Awesome. It's great to hear from you.
Thanks, hon.
Okay.
All right.
Best of the season. Best to everyone. Okay. Take care.
Bye now.
All right, Margot Cranford with Flanker Press, of course, great local publishing company. Let's knock some of these off. Dave, yeah, sure. Line 4, Wayne, you're on the air.
Yes. I'd like to wish my sister Gail Vincent of St. John's a very happy 75th birthday on Christmas Day. And the greetings come from her brother Wayne and sister-in-law Linda. And I'd also like to wish Merry Christmas to VOCM for doing such a wonderful job.
Gail Vincent, 75 on Christmas Day.
Yeah, she never ever gets, she loses out a lot. You got her birthday, and then you got Christmas. So, I mean, presents, she gets a Christmas present, and then a lot of people will buy, say, one present for, well, that's your Christmas and your birthday. And she don't get to be taken out like for her birthday and celebrate that. So, but there's a lot of people in her the same as her born on Christmas Day, you know. So I guess she's a special sister, you know, that way. But so this is the very first time I've ever called VOCM to wish her happy birthday on Christmas Day. So I don't think she's probably listening. She's probably out for having coffee with her girlfriends.
Is she in St. John's or?
She lives in St. John's, and she usually goes down to A&W for coffee with a 89-year-old and has coffee and breakfast down on the new A&W down right across from the dollar store down there off Stavanger Drive.
Off Stavanger, so that one down there, right on. Well, she could be there now, and if they don't have VO on, there's something wrong with them. And let's hope that she can hear this, and if not, just a reminder that we replay at night. So, you know, she could probably tune in with about 15 minutes left tonight and catch your wishes for her. But you are absolutely right. I think we all know a few people who their birthday falls on Christmas Day, and they always feel like they get robbed for it. But there you go. I'm sure just the good fortune to be born on the same day as the big guy, or you know, as in the Catholic world, of course, that's quite a feat in itself. So maybe that's the offset.
Yes. I again, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome, Wayne. Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas to Gail, and happy birthday.
She'll appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Okay. Let's take one more, Wayne, right before the break. Line 5. Wayne, you're on the air as well.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Just calling to wish everybody a happy Merry Christmas and everything else. And I still think it was good morning is the word said the most. I have to disagree with your word because every call that comes in, everybody says good morning. The person says it, and so do you.
Not everybody. Not as much as the word just.
Okay, well, you know, I just figured I'd have to phone and disagree with you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. My God, this isn't, as Patty has pointed out, this is not the venue or the forum for all agreement and happy-go-lucky. I mean, if you don't have debate and discussion about issues, even as small as what word is used the most on Open Line, I'm all over it.
Yes, I know, but well, you'd have no show if you didn't have disagreement.
You got that right, and without good morning, you wouldn't have any pleasantries. So I'll take that one, and we'll put it right at the top of the list, right next to just. So how about we just compromise and say just good morning?
Sounds good.
Great. Wayne, you driving?
Sounds good. Yes, I am, but I'm hands-free.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just wondering what part of the province you're calling from.
I just passed Southbrook, actually. The last time you tried to pick up and I wasn't there, that's where I was coming through. I'm almost to Badger. I guess I'm about 30 kilometers from Badger there now.
Gotcha. How's the highway?
Oh, it's actually excellent today.
Great. That's good news. Oh, God.
A little bit wet, but other than that, that's normal this time of the year.
And drivers are behaving themselves, I hope. There's never enough time on the radio to talk about safety driving. So while they're driving, and so many people listening.
What? They're actually behaving quite well today. There's nobody decided to pass me on the double solid line today.
Yeah, today.
But no, that have happened many a times out there.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, safe on the highways. Appreciate the call. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Thanks so much for calling.
Yes, you're welcome, and you enjoy your Christmas there. And I guess I'll look forward to talking to you and hearing from you guys in the new year.
Absolutely. Safe on the highway, buddy.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. All right, right on the break. We'll take that break and come back. Got a few callers left in the queue. We'll get it right up to noon. Here as Brian Callahan in for Paddy Daly. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Going to try to squeeze in a few callers here now before we get up to the end of the show for today. Let's go right to Greg Noser, the Ward 3 councillor for St. John's. Greg, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Great, sir. How are you?
Good. I had to pad the books a little bit there for you on the most used words.
Kind of appreciate that.
No, good. Listen, I just wanted to remind folks we've got no waste collection throughout the city of St. John's on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, of course, as well as New Year's Day itself, January 1st. There will be collection on Saturday, December 27th for folks who have theirs on Christmas and Boxing Day, and then the folks who would have theirs on New Year's Day, the 1st, that'll be the following Friday, the 2nd. So I just want to remind everyone of that. And listen, Brian, I want to wish everybody down VOCM, yourself, Dave, Patty, Greg, everybody down there, a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. You guys do a lot of great work, and I can't say enough how much it's appreciated, whether it's the PSAs that we put out for the community from the city of St. John's, taking these phone calls or whatever. I hope you guys have a very restful break, and I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's not lost on us here, Greg, that the valuable, long before I got here, VOCM has been an institution at Christmas time, all time throughout the year, but especially at Christmas through VOCM Cares and, the Happy Tree and everything else. I have no problem blowing our own horn and accepting all of the gracious and kind words you have to say for us here. It's, as you know, it's hard times, and we're all trying to do our best to help others and do our best. So I can't thank you enough for all the work you guys are doing down in the bunker, down in City Hall. Especially with the newcomers that you have next to you. Some learning curves going on, but they seem to be no worries at all, just going right through the motions.
No, absolutely. And listen, it's great. We've got a great crew down there. We've got some great staff, too. Can't thank them enough for all the hard work they do, the hard work they do leading up to Christmas and after. So we're very Merry Christmas to them, and so thankful as well. And, of course, to the residents throughout St. John's, listen, take it in. It's a great time of year. I want to wish everyone Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, and stay safe and be safe. And if you're going to have a drink, don't drive. We don't want to have any unfortunate situations. So be mindful, of course. It's a great season, but let's keep it a great season. So Merry Christmas to everybody, and we'll see you guys in 2026.
Yeah, and while I got you, hunker down, hey, it looks like a bit of a blast coming on Christmas Day, so it might be a good day not to have garbage collection.
Yeah, you got it. That's right.
Already, yeah.
But,
yep. Okay.
Listen, you take care, and we'll be talking to you guys in 2026.
Great. All the best. Thanks, Greg. Merry Christmas.
Cheers, Sina.
Thanks. Bye. All right, and let's go to, we got a couple of callers. I have Patsy on line 4. You're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Patsy. How are
Christmas.
you?
Merry Christmas.
Same to you and yours.
I want to send a birthday request, please, to Holly Mouse. She's 48 today.
What's her name again, sorry?
Holly.
Holly, at Christmas time, Holly.
Yes.
I have a niece, Holly, and born around Christmas. I mean, it's a no-brainer, hey?
Yes, for sure.
And a Noel. I have a nephew, Noel and Holly. They were both born around Christmas. So there you go. My brother Sean's kids. So God love them. I'll shout out to them while we're talking about Holly's. Where's Holly? Where is Holly, Patsy?
In Mount Pearl.
Awesome. Okay. 48 today.
Yes.
Today?
Yes.
Awesome.
Today.
Well, Patsy, from all of us here, from all of us behind these microphones. I would sing it if I had everybody. Maybe we'll get everybody in for the last show tomorrow, and we'll sing that song live. But
okay, thank you, Brian.
Happy birthday to Patsy, and Merry Christmas to all of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Good thing I stopped singing that one when I did. Let's go to our last caller for the morning for Monday, and that is Mike. You're on line 1. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mr. Callahan.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right. You sound like you're on the road. Whereabouts?
I am on the road, just driving through center of the city right now.
Okay, and what brings you to Open Line this morning?
Funny you should ask. It's so busy this time of year, as I know you are, and as well as I am. It's the only chance I'm going to get a chance to say Merry Christmas to you and yours from me and mine. I know how busy you are with your extra side duties, myself as well. So, just wanted to call to say Merry Christmas.
Well, boy, that's some mighty sweet of you, mighty white of you.
It's the only way you're like a captive audience. That's the only way I can get a hold of you.
Well, as you said, you have first-hand intel of how busy we all are, and I can appreciate that as well. So
absolutely.
So very good.
Yeah.
Best to you and Barb and everyone.
She just got out of the car.
Your significant other? Oh, just before I even said it. Okay. I got one more caller, I think. We're going to try to squeeze in. What else, Mike? Give me what else? What are you doing over the holidays?
Well, like you, Brian, Christmas parties, big shows coming up for New Year's, so excited about that. But listen, my friend, you have a great Christmas, and I'll see you in the New Year.
Right back at you. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. All right, brother.
Hey, take care. Merry Christmas, buddy. All right, and Dave, we got one more before we call, or do you want to have a go at the I'm on hold? Okay, and just another reminder, folks, kind of joked with it there with Councillor Noseworthy, but it looks like it's official now. It was a little bit unclear when we started the show, but it looks like we got a blast coming on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, so keep your ears and your eyes on the VOCM website and keep on the radio as well. Story there now is looking at, well, white Christmas for parts of the island. That's the best I can say. Heavy snow. I mean, it's just as well. It's dry as a bone out there now and pretty grey looking. I wouldn't mind a lick of snow for Christmas. I don't know about the rest of you. I don't think they're hurting on the West Coast, which is... I spent Christmas one year at Marble Mountain and loved every second of it, staying at the Glen Mill out there and then back and forth. But even then, it was iffy at best if they were going to have any snow, and I don't think they're having. It's funny how the climate systems work, but 1 minute you're looking for different ways to diversify the economy out there and find different ways to do things in the off season, and worrying about that the season may not start until late January and early February, and lo and behold, you get a blast in December and everything's good. So, of all the knocks that Marble Mountain takes, they're going to relish this kind of winter so far, so all the best to them. And so we do have one more program coming tomorrow before we take our break for Christmas. Dave and I will be back tomorrow. I did want to get into a little bit. We had a couple of callers there, but not enough time to get into it. One, of course, on the Wabush Airport, and I did have an email there I had a chance to have a look at that I got forwarded, talking about it's not snow clearing, it's ice control. Well, in a very broad sense, when I said snow clearing, fell under the ice control umbrella for me anyway, but we do realize there are bigger issues up there, whether it's staffing and whether it's just getting, making sure that the airport, that those strips, because that's Wabush and Lab City, of course. I mean, they are neighbors as close as it gets. So you fly to Wabush, you're flying to Lab City. But just so you know, we're going to try to get a hold of Philip Earl tomorrow. He's been talking about that, the MP up there for Labrador. And as well, some issues with the Marystown Council we're going to get to tomorrow as well. We had a caller there who wanted to talk about Marystown Council and some of the issues going on down there. And we welcome that call again tomorrow, and your calls as well. As I said, one day left in the show. If you want to get some greetings on for you and yours, send the best out to whoever, wherever on this globe. We'll get it to you here right through VOCM. We'll be your conduit for Christmas greetings. Anyway, that does it for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow morning, and then we'll take a break for Christmas. But until then, drive safely, arrive alive, VOCM cares.